The other night, I had a friggin' meltdown, and I had decided at that point that I was not going to impart any wisdom of fundraising. But you know what? Then somebody made a comment uh, in my meltdown about an anonymous fundraiser. I don't know who did it. I don't know what it was done for. Honestly, I don't care. I can guess who it was done for and why it was done for, but you know. Because I believe that person also came to me and I told them no, you can't, I wouldn't do it. Anyway, this one is do's and don'ts of fundraising. Now, like everything, there are rules and regulations for fundraising. Hey, Shroom. How you, darling? Um, no, I did not make up these rules and regulations. I don't have a thing to do with them. I just went on the internet, grabbed a couple of sites. Anybody that wants to look it up can look up Association Fundraising Principles or AFP Rules and Regulations. I suggest highly you spell it out because you get some other stuff. There's thousands of sites that you can choose from. So I didn't pick one or the other because I don't want to influence your thoughts. So, fundraising, the words fundraising, benefit, and crowdfunding all mean the same thing. No, you don't have to be a 501c3 to do fundraising, but you do have to follow 501c3 fundraising rules and regulations. States, counties, towns, cities, whatever, they all have their own rules and regulations for such things. Okay. And all the rules and regulations are overseen by the AICPA, which is the Association of Independent Certified Public Accountants. Okay. Because there are certain things you have to do. You can't keep things secret. It depending on which township or state or county you're in, felonies start somewhere between $500 and $1,500. It depends on the what that state's regulations are for between misdemeanor and felony. And trust me, if you go over those, even by $1, it changes over from a misdemeanor to a felony. And they don't care what you, oh, it's only $1. They don't care if it's only $1. So I'm going to show a couple of the sites I found. Again, you can Google any of this. There are pages and pages and pages available to anyone. And I highly recommend you do them, you follow them. So I'm gonna show you the first site, what the fundraiser okay, let me before I do that. So when somebody fundraises, okay, two sets of laws come into play. Okay. The person for who is running it, their area laws, and the person who's receiving the funds. Okay. So there's a lot of things that can go on, and multiple people can and usually will be indicted if it's ever found out. So don't think that you're clear. And there should always be more than one person on any board of anything, making sure everything is correct. And you will soon find out why I made all the videos I did about the updates for John Howe. So I'm just going to start. I'm not going to stay long. I'm just going to read some of these. This is one I just sent to my email. These are some of the do's and don'ts of the group of people leading it up, whether it's a board or otherwise. Practice their profession with integrity, honesty, truthfulness, and I'm going to see if I can highlight these as I go. Truthfulness, adherence to the absolute obligation to safeguard the public trust. Okay, act according to the highest goals and visions of their organizations, professions, clients, and conscience, consciences. Okay, I can't say it. Put philanthropic mission above personal gain. Inspire others through their own sense of dedication and high purpose. Improve their professional knowledge and skills so that their performance will better serve others. Demonstrate concern for the interest and well being of individuals affected by their actions. Value the privacy and choice and interests of all those affected by their actions. Foster cultural diversity and pluralistic values and treat all people with dignity and respect. Affirm through personal giving a commitment to that word, philanthropy and its roles in society. Adhere to the spirit and will as well as the letter of the applicable laws and regulations. Advocate with their organization adherence to all applicable laws and regulations. Avoid even the appearance of criminal offense or professional misconduct. Bring credit to the fundraising profession by their public demeanor. Encourage colleagues to embrace and practice these ethical principles and standards. And oh, wow, that went out there. Okay. Be aware. Oh, for the love of Pete. Be aware of the codes of ethics promulgated by other professional organizations that serve philanthropy. Now, those are just your basic standard professionalisms. Yeah, I might have got a little off on blowing up, but that was had nothing to do with the fundraiser. So um, those things you have to follow. There's you just can't pick and choose what you want to do. Okay, there's just uh, all kinds of things. Now, some of the guidelines that I pulled up, uh, this next page is I just picked the first one I came across. It's from Minnesota. Every state has these, okay? And this is going to blow people's minds, but this is also part of the reason because I knew all this from working with the 501c3 that I did. Use it as the fear of God because anybody and everybody is accountable for what goes on, whether you want to call it a fundraiser, whether you want to call it a benefit, whether you want to call it crowdfunding, doesn't matter. You you are accountable for what goes on. And I know a lot of people had a fit about what I did, but there were reasons. It's because of these laws and regulations that I did what I did. I shared my day that it was all screwed up because I had to. My ethics for my profession tells me I have to. I took an oath and I have to stick to that oath. So the next one is can I tell you what you can and cannot do? Um, Let me get a drink here. You must share. Must. This is not, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. You must, in all fundraising, all benefit raising, all crowdfunding, you must share specific information when you ask for charitable donations, such as where the donations will go, whether the donations are a taxable deduction, and how donations will be used. This is not a choice. You have to put that out there. It is important to be very clear. We're right here. Sorry, I probably should be highlighting it. It is important to be very clear what you will do with people's money when you fundraise. You cannot be misleading or deceptive when raising charitable funds. You must be very careful, to use the money you fundraise for the exact purpose donors intended. People who fundraise charitable funds have strict fiduciary duties to safeguard that money. Okay? That means you have to know where every dime, every penny is. And I think a little bit down further, it tells you every penny. I'm not kidding you. Accountants will spend hours to find pennies in 501c3s. Doesn't make sense because accountants get paid a lot of money, but the books have to be perfect. They have to be perfect. There is no, oh, well, well, look, you cannot write off a penny in a 501c3. Whether you have a license for it or not, you cannot write a penny off. You cannot use it for anything other than what it's supposed to be used for. And that person cannot get more than what its designation is for. So if they got extra money and it didn't go for whatever it was, you can be in a lot of trouble. Okay. And you can look these up. Like I said, I just pulled the first one I found. This is Minnesota's. At any time, the Minnesota Attorney General's office or any other state's office may request information like donation records, bank statements, and receipts to look into potential violations of these laws. So you have to literally have an accounting where everything came from and where everything went to, who handled it, who moved it. In other words, I'm telling you. In addition, for this is for Minnesota, by the way, just so you know, your state, different states have different levels. In addition, if you raise more than $25,000 and meet some other conditions, you may have to register and file specific paperwork with the office, of the Attorney General or the business licensing, or there's a lot of things involved in this. While the vast majority of people raising money for charity are careful to follow these laws, there can be consequences for those that do not. Okay? And these attorney generals like to go after people that think they're above the law. Okay? Again, if you raise so much, you really have to tell them what it's for. You need to be aware of potential tax consequences that come with raising money. So does the person receiving it. It is considered non or unearned income, and everybody knows the IRS loves to take their portion. So yes, if you've received money from a fundraiser or a benefit or a crowd fund, you have to report it on your taxes. Just the way it is. This is outside the scope of this publication. Okay? So that's because it's federal. There are federal laws that oversee all of this too, guys, and it doesn't matter what state you in. You know, it doesn't matter what state they're there. Okay, some of the steps that can be taken to protect charitable funds. Be honest, upfront, and specific with donors about how exactly their donations will be used. This is not, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. You have to. You don't have a choice. You have to say who it's for and what they're going to use it for. You have to be right here. Number one, be transparent about any expenses, such as fees charged by a funding platform. That's Cash App, PayPal, yada, yada. That might reduce the actual amount going towards the charitable purpose. Keep careful. Oh, sorry, let me highlight it. Keep careful records of how much money you raise and where the money goes. Specifically, keep number one, bank statements. Number two, receipts of donations. Number three, receipts of how you spent the money and copies of other records. You know, you've got to get a receipt wherever you spend that money to, and that should be attached to those records. Protect yourself, CYA, cover your ass. You should track and account for every single penny that comes in the door, right here, penny, and every single penny that you spend, right here. Oh, let me get out of that, right here. Every single penny that comes in the door and every single penny that you spend. Again, whether you have a license or not, you have to adhere to these rules and regulations. Okay? And this is why I zeroed out my accounts right here. Why I left only $1 there that could be tracked is because of this one right here. Consider setting up a separate bank account to safeguard the funds you raise for charity. Avoid commingling charitable funds with your own money in the personal bank account. Because every penny you have, oh, I put, $500 in from the charity into my checking account, but I had, 1,200 in there. That's $1,700. They may assume that $1,700 is theirs. It belongs to the fund. So there's reasons why I did what I did and why I did them. This next one is why I did a spreadsheet, a double entry system to balance. Remember, I told you guys it was GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Procedures, which is exactly what the AICPA uses. The Association of Independent Certified Public Accountants. They use GAAP rules and regulations as well. It says create checks and balances to ensure the money safely gets to its destination. For example, have more than one person in charge of receiving, recording, and depositing donations, and require multiple people to sign checks and approve the money you spend. Multiple checks, multiple signatures usually is because it's a 501c3. It's designated as like Wounded Warriors or St. Jude's. There has to be multiple people involved. I don't care who you are. You start at the lower level with accounts payable, and then it goes up to the bookkeeper, and then it goes up to the director. And yeah, they the names in nonprofits are a little different than in for-profit businesses, but and then, always, always, always the director of finances has to be the last signature. So they know exactly what's going on. Everything has to be recorded. Okay. Be especially careful with cash because it is difficult to trace and easily lost. Well, when you're using payer platforms, then, it's not so easy to hide, but it's still there. It is best to have two people simultaneously count any cash donations. Now, I've told you guys, I've managed places, I've done bookkeeping. Never, ever did I ever count a drawer without the person that actually use that drawer. And then they had to sign off on the count as well. There are reasons why you do things, and just to cover your own ass for nothing else. At the end of the fundraiser, you have to update your donors about how their money was used. You don't get a choice in this. This is why I've been doing the updates, showing you exactly day by day what has gone on. I was hoping that I was being an example, you know? So I think that's the end of that. Yeah. So, you know, there, oh, I was going to, so I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to do the fundraising rules search. Okay. I was just like in a Google search and I just put fundraising rules in here. Okay. You can do, however you'll figure it out as you go along. I am not going to influence what you read or what you want to see. I never go to the top 3, 4, or 5 because, they're the ones paying to be at the top. They want you to use theirs. If it all looks like advertisement, I go until I see that they're 1, 2, 3 afterwards, and then I start looking. As you can tell, CFRs are federal regulations. Okay. FEC is in here too, guys. These are people you don't want to piss off. Okay. There's a lot to look for. You can find them. This one says in Australia. You can literally put in for your state and it'll probably bring up. There are strategies. I mean, this is just like how you influence people to get involved and donate. But, you know, you can find this stuff all on your own. Okay? This is why I have been as transparent as I have been. Called out, meltdown, if you will, that I did because I was being called out for being transparent. Unfortunately, I knew the rules, I knew the laws, and I wasn't going to be caught in the middle. I had gone ahead and decided that I was going to impart this wisdom because if you're doing fundraisers or crowdfunding or whatever you want to call it, you need to be sweating the whole time. You need to be stressing over what's going on, who has access. People that don't understand these things should never have access. Never, never have access to something so important that could mean whether or not you go to jail or have to pay fines. And some of these fines are huge. And I'm not talking, a couple $1,000s. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, guys. And you're talking about different federal departments, state departments, county, and city or townships. They all can bring their own charges, but it's not going to be under just one. They want to make an example out of you. You're going to be the target. So I highly suggest you don't be getting involved in. Again, I wasn't aware until somebody had mentioned it in my meltdown video that there had been an anonymous fundraiser. I don't know who did it, and I don't care because it's their ass on the line, not mine. The person who received those funds, it's their ass on the line, not mine. And I'm thankful for that because I don't know how much they receive, but anything between $500 and $1,500 or more, you're looking at felony charges if somebody decides to be ugly. I'm not going to be that ugly because, yeah, you should be sweating. You should be sweating bullets. And you should be telling the community what it was for and how it was spent and see the receipts and from whatever they were supposed to be using it for. Yeah. There were things that were going on. A lot of people have been doing fundraising and have no clue as what they're putting their butts on the line for. So I really highly suggest people watch this video at the very least. Know your do's. I just gave you a very small portion of what's going on. Very tiny. Your ethics are huge. Your honesty, your transparency are huge. Be the model, be the example. Because if you're showing that people can just do whatever they want whenever they want, no. Sorry, guys. That's, yeah, that's not even possible. Um, Now, during my meltdown, I said I worked the hardest on that thing. Worked very hard on it, but I was in meltdown, stress, freak out mode so much that I failed, and I apologize for it. I failed to recognize that Pedro did a lot of work on that spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are hard. You want to get them just right so they're showing exactly what they should show. And I want to applaud Pedro for that. He did work very hard on that, and I apologize to Pedro for not recognizing that. Pedro is a very good person. So anyway, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna read what's been put in chat here. No, I'm not gonna talk about Donna tonight. I will do an update tomorrow. Why Shroom Day? Why is yours racing? Funny enough. Yes, very good info. A lot of people don't understand what they're doing when, you know, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. There are people out there that need help. Okay. I headed up a fundraiser for Nash. He was in a bit of a spot, and there were people that fought it, but the situation, I did my due diligence on that. And if you ask Nash, he's going to say she crawled up my ass, or he should say, because I asked him questions about why I was doing it. Did you know about this? Did you expect this and stuff like that? There are reasons why I don't just take on a fundraiser and say, yeah, you're a good person, I'll just do it. No, 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 no. I ask questions. I want to know the ins and outs and whys and what's fors and stuff. I took on Nash's only because of the children that were involved. Only because of the children involved. If it had just been adults, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have. Some people know that I was going to help Anna. I'm crazy. A couple of years ago, she kept saying, I'm freezing. I'm going to freeze through the winter and stuff. and I approached her and asked her if she wanted me to help her raise funds so she could get heating oil. And I'm going to put it out there. She said yes. And I had done some looking around again, asking questions. But I know of multiple community resources. They happen in every town, every county. Every county has them. Every state regulates them. The federal government sends money to most of them. LIHEAP is one of them. It's a federal agency that sends money to keep people warm in their houses during the winter time. There is a process. You got to fill out paperwork. They got to know who's in your house, your income. What your expenses are, yada yada. Whether you burn oil, wood, gas, or use electricity, they have to know that because they don't give you the money; they send it to that entity. Okay. So I had done a lot of research, and the fact of the matter is, when we were going to have the fundraiser, fell on a Friday afternoon, which would have put the oil company closed, and she would have had to wait another, or close to being closed, and she would have had to wait, through the weekend. So I had said, well, if I put it on my credit card, can you go out that same day? And he said, sure, I'll be out there within an hour filling it up. And so I had mentioned this to Anna and said, well, if it goes on the credit card when we do the fundraiser, that money has to be paid back to the credit card first. And, because I was just going to try to get her heat because she kept saying she was freezing. I felt bad that she was freezing. And then when she found out that she wasn't going to get to handle the money, she canceled the whole fundraiser. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot more to what went on. I contacted her county. I contacted her mayor, trying to send out the township to help her out. And she backed out of the fundraiser. So a lot of people thought I was just being an ugly biatch about it. Had nothing to do with that. And there are other things that I could say about it, but I won't because I don't have permission. I know what I did. I know in my heart I did right. Most of the other fundraisers I've done, Wisdom Volunteer Fire Department, I was just pushing it. I didn't handle the funds. Lambo was kind of a all of the sudden out of the blue nothing. Nobody had time to do a whole lot, and I was only a go between to round robin. And I looked back on that, and I about kicked myself in the butt because when I did send the funds over there, I didn't realize that there was a place to put everybody's name that was involved in that, and I kicked myself in the butt for not doing that. I did, however, write in that spot that it was from the community, not just me. So I absolutely kicked myself in the butt for not writing every person's name in there. At least their screen name, not their real name, but their screen names. And let's see what other one. I've been approached by a couple, but if they don't want to tell, the person they're asking to help, if they don't want to tell them exactly why and what they're doing with it, they shouldn't take it on. Okay? Shouldn't take it on. So, again, do's and don'ts. Do help if they're honest about it, if they're upfront about who's it for, what it's going to be used for, and everything. Yes, get involved, help. Everybody needs it now and again. See you later, sweetie. Thank you for the sweetness, for all the messages. You're a doll, shroom. If they can't tell you exactly what it's for, who it's for, don't get involved. If you want to help people that are not as trustworthy as you think that they should be, take on the responsibility for dispersing that money. Do not, I mean, there are people that will use it for drugs and drinking and bills because they've wasted their money or gambling or whatever it may be. You have every absolute right to intervene and send it to the entity it's supposed to go to. In fact, you have a responsibility to do that. So, somebody who has a house, owns a house, they can take a loan. Okay? Be vigilant in what you do and how you do fundraisers and what they're for. Um, Honestly, I will not get involved in fundraisers that pays bills, pays rent, buys food, because although those things are available in that person's community, every one of them are. They just have to want to go find it. Um, if it's for something, you know, let's say for an animal, there are places through your pound or whatever you want to call it that will help with paying, vet bills or help getting a dog or a cat or an animal help. Go through those avenues before you ask a community to help. Car repairs. There are a lot of churches out there that will, if you can come up with like the first half, they'll pay the last half. Um, I don't know. There's a couple of federal in my area because I've helped people before. This is not my first rodeo. In my area, there's a like Saint something or other. If you need help with rent, as long as you come up with the first 50%, they will come up with the other 50%. But you have to be able to prove that you've paid that 50% because it's all about responsibility. So, there are a lot of community things out there in every township, in every county. They're there. They should be going to those before coming to, you know, like the silver community. I've said no on about 3 or 4 different fundraisers. I won't do it. There are rules. Whether people like them or not, they have to be adhered to. So, said what I'm going to say. If you know anybody, they need to be watching this. They need to be, finding out what their role is in it. Because you have no idea what that money's going to be used for if they're not going to tell you straight up front. Anyway, that's it. I've been on too long already. I was only going to try to keep it at a half an hour. Good luck. So now you know why I've done everything I've done, why I've done all the little videos, why I laughed away all the hell I went through the other day. And tomorrow they get the last $285. It'll finally be in, and I will send it, and then I will do an update on that. So, thank you everybody for watching. Spread it, make them watch it, make them look up those laws, make them tell you, because they cannot not tell you who it's for or what it's being used for. They have to tell you. Okay. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much. And it's good to see you, Z Rich. It's been a while.